I'm in.
Hmm.
Let me just take a quick one lot. No, I'm sure it's. Yeah, I'm in. And I just took a quick trade, and it's working.
Hmm. All right, looks like the screen share should be up. All right, good morning, guys. What's up, Mike? How's everybody doing this morning? Hope you guys are all having a great start to your day here. Looks like we're going to have a little bit of an interesting market. A couple things kind of shifting and moving here in the overnight session so far that we'll take a look at. But first things first, what's going on, Oscar? How you doing this morning? First things first, I want to take a look at the Forex factory calendar here. There's not a lot on the day here. We got nat gas numbers and then some Canadian news coming out here like 11:15. And then some more of these members speaking. I don't really know how many members there are actually on the FOMC, but it seems like we've had somebody speaking pretty much every day. And again, I don't think it necessarily matters. But if you are trading nat gas, that's going to be a 10:30 news announcement for today. It is Thursday, almost said Friday. All right, so let's jump in and take a look at the four main indices here. We got gold breaking down overnight as well and crude rallying back. So kind of some interesting action going on here. In the first survey of the field here this morning, we've got S&Ps up 0.26%. We've got the Nasdaq flat, pretty much exactly unchanged on the day there. It's up 0.5 ticks there, so half a point there. Russell's up 0.15% and the Dow up 0.32%. So Dow and S&P is in the lead. Russell a little bit of a laggard, and the Nasdaq here pretty much unchanged on the day after being higher, obviously, in the overnight session as well. We've had an overnight range in the Nasdaq of almost 100 points, just about 90 points there. So fairly decent range so far in the overnight session. We've had a 28-point range in the S&P 500s all the way down to 2840 50s, back up to 2868s. And about a 220 point range, 230 point range or so in the Dow. So we definitely have some volatility in these markets. We've got pretty decent ranges going on here. So what is it that we can take from that, and what's the game plan for today? So that's what I'm going to go ahead and dive right into here. And in the S&Ps here, you can see we finally broke that pivot Tuesday. And we rallied up. We finally pulled back and tested that pivot yesterday there. And this first hourly bar there ended up being 27.5 points. Now, a lot of that ends up being the fact that Trump sent out a tweet. And I guess we're all good with China now. We're buddies. And the market had a 19.5 5-minute bar there. They just shot us to the upside in the S&Ps. So at this point, we have broken trend. We did break to the upside here. We broke through these 51s up there, and so far continuing to work our way higher, up about 8 points on the day. So my game plan for the day in the S&Ps is as long as we hold above 2851s, then I'm permitted to take short-term or smaller time frame trends to the upside, pullbacks, buy setups, any type of divergences in there that may or may not set up, as long as we're holding above 2851s. Now, it'd be ideal to see pullbacks here kind of hold into 2858.75s. We're currently sitting, 4 points or so above that at the moment. So if pullbacks can hold to there, that's even better. And if we can get, some type of trend that starts off of that level, then I like that even better. And that's going to end up putting targets somewhere up in here towards kind of 2890s. Again, I don't know if we'll get quite there just yet today. I mean, that's another 30 points or so here. But again, we had an hour range yesterday of 27.5 points. So it is completely possible that we could work our way up there. And the only reason I'm saying that I don't know if it's going to happen today is because of the Nasdaq. So Nasdaq pretty much flat here. You can see it's up $1.50 on the day, and again had a 90-point range in the overnight session so far. So we got plenty of room in there, and it's going to be kind of the same game plan here, where as long as Nasdaq can hold above 75.0150s and ideally above 75.32s, which is kind of right where we're flirting with right now, trading 75.3050s. As long as we can maintain a bullish bias above this level here, we can find some type of divergence, we can find some type of smaller time frame uptrend that we can participate in, then I like the NASDAQ to the long side. And this is going to end up targeting up into 76.2950s. So that's a really, really big move there in the NASDAQ, about 100 points from where we're currently at. But again, yesterday's first hour range in the NASDAQ was 115 points. So I'm not really too concerned at the fact that the target's 100 points away here. One thing I do want to point out on the indices, though, that I think is going to start to come into play, maybe not today or tomorrow, but probably earlier next week, is we're going to end up kind of setting up, this is a daily chart here. We're going to end up kind of setting up a daily sell setup here. So we've had the nice downtrend here on the daily chart that's been looking better on the hourly chart more so than the daily here, because daily looks like it's wanted to reverse a few times there. And at this point, once we rally up here just a little bit more, we're going to set up an area where the daily could, in fact, kind of fall back down. That'll give us a larger pullback on the hourly chart. Again, I don't think it's necessarily going to happen today or tomorrow, but it'll probably end up setting up sometime early next week. And I would not be surprised to see, in the S&Ps, a nice 20, 30, 40-point down move out of that daily kind of sell setup if and when that can kind of set up. So keep that in mind as we're rallying up here over the next few days. Again, if we do rally up over the next few days, that will be kind of looming ahead. So the hourly chart is kind of breaking the uptrend, but again, once one chart breaks a trend in one direction or the other, that's only going to push a higher time frame into an opposing trend there. In this case, it'll be pushing the daily into a daily sell setup here, even though the hourly will be in a nice uptrend. So keep that in mind there. Now, moving over to the Russell here. Russell's got about a 14-point range overnight, so not quite as much here, considering the 28-point range going on so far in the S&Ps, or the 90-point range going on in the NASDAQ there. And Russell's going to end up being the same story here. So we've got 1543.60s here to the downside that need to hold. And in the overnight session, you can see we traded down here. Looks like lows of the night are 42.80. So we traded right down to this 43.60 level so far. Little failure to go lower pattern right there, and then ended up rallying nicely off that. So Russell here, it's not as weak as the NASDAQ on the day. NASDAQ just turned red here. Russell's only up 0.12%, so it's up half of what the S&Ps and the Dow are. So if we are looking for shorts on the day, at some point, if we do in fact break the support levels we have in place, then I think the Russell and or the NASDAQ, or a combination of the two, are a good looking short opportunity in here. So keep an eye on 1543.60 there in the Russell. And looking at the Dow here, so Dow is the leader on the day so far. Dow is up 0.30%, 0.29% there. And again, we've got a fairly decent range going in the overnight session there for the Dow. One thing that's a little concerning is the Dow actually kind of came down, broke through by a lot. 25,554s are those overnight lows in there. And we have a level in place here at 25,622s. Now again, the S&Ps did break that too as well. They traded all the way down to 4050s here. So we broke that in the overnight session, and able to maintain it here into the close. The Russell traded pretty much right to it and rallied back. The NASDAQ definitely broke through it. So the levels were essentially respected in the overnight session, but they've just been trading through those levels as well. So they've given reactions, and then they've also led to larger moves through those levels. So with respect to the Dow here, 25,750, so it's gapping up kind of somewhere up in here. As long as we kind of hold pullbacks here in the Dow to 25,706s, then I think we're permitted to take longs in there. Same thing with the S&Ps. If we kind of crack under the 25,706, I'm going to kind of shy away from the longs here. And then if and when we crack under 25,622s, that'll flip my long side bias to the short side and can start looking for a move lower here. And again, we've obviously proven that we've got room to the downside in the overnight session in both of those markets as we pushed through by 10 points in the S&Ps and by about 70 points or so here in the Dow. So there is room, there is targets there. And then this move here will run us up into 25,995s in the Dow, so just under that 26,000 number there, if and when this move can actually start getting going here today, and continue to hold uptrends. So the four main indices there, so far, I mean, I think pretty kind of straightforward setups for today. We're going to be, like I said, this, I was talking about this in the room the other day, is this kind of trend change area can end up being a little bit sloppy, choppy, but you just have to be aware and continue to follow the trend on the time frame that you're on, and know that, okay, once we do end up getting this rally, we're going to set up a daily sell setup, and just kind of keep some of those things in mind, and stay on the right side of the trend that you're trading. Gold here, I don't even honestly want to talk about gold at this point. It does not know what it wants to do here. Wants to go higher, doesn't want to go higher. Maybe wants to go lower here at this point. Maybe it doesn't. Gold is just pretty much really, really undecided here. And unfortunately here, I mean, another 4 or 5 point drop, and we're going to pretty much erase this entire green bar that led to, the breakout of this resistance level. And so far, pullbacks in there haven't been working. They broke today, and we've got resistance levels in place here coming in at 1295.70s. So 1295.70s. So far, overnight highs here were 99.30s, but again, we broke down through that level there. And we've traded 95.30 so far today, regular trading hours for gold. So gold, I'm going to leave it alone again. Obviously, I'm going to continue to watch it, but I don't see any good trade setups in here, as each good trade setup either doesn't work in here or it doesn't actually completely set up. So gold's been kind of a funky one lately, and just going to kind of let it do its thing. Moving over to crude oil though. So crude oil here is back up at this prior high here. 62.90s was the resistance level in there. We're trying to break through it at the moment. And again, we were looking at this early here on Monday. I had a failure to go higher pattern there. And I think this targets up into 63.84s. So as long as crude can hold and confirm above these levels, then I think pullbacks kind of into the 62.90s there will be good, and we can rally up into 63.84s from this move. I mean, we're just going from the lower end of this range back to the upper end of this range, and looks like we may want to try and break this range to the upside, anywhere between kind of 61 and 62s and change here, is kind of where that range has been. So, all right, guys, wrapped up a couple minutes early here, and I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new around here, click that subscribe button and turn on the little bell notification so you know when we go live each and every morning at 9 a.m. And if you want to be able to trade live each and every morning with me, also get access to Perry and all of the MLT community, then we have a Discord channel with a link in the description below. You guys can join us there. So really appreciate you guys' time today. Trade safe if you are trading today. Follow your rules, follow your plan. Plan your trade and trade your plan. So anyways, I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Take care.